When we first bought this home, about 3 to 5 months of owning the house,
we were robbed.
We were robbed.
Here's the story. Hi guys, welcome back to
Ooh, Vegas
Talk, our weekly segment where we... Oh, wait a minute. Cocktail hour. Cheers.
Today, we're going to do something a little different on Vegas Talk. We're going to tell you guys about an experience of
story time.
We're going to tell you about our home here that we own, that we bought in 2012.
So I was training at a new job at the time, and Ozzy was on a snowboarding trip.
I left that day around 6 a.m.
Packed up the car outside in front of the home like we normally do, carrying luggage and snowboards and his equipment from our house. I went to work, I left around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I didn't return till after midnight.
I had worked the night before until about 3 in the morning, so I had only gotten about 2 or 3 hours of sleep.
He was actually in Utah.
3 hours away.
He wasn't that far away at the mountain.
And I was gonna come home that night, but after the day of riding, I was like, oh, I'm really tired of it.
Luckily, he was still up. He was questionable on whether or not he was going to come home.
So I decided just to sleep up there in a hotel room at the mountain.
So he calls me to tell me that as I'm on my way home from training, and I'm already like a nervous person. I don't like to be home alone. I was kind of scared, and I was like, well, just talk to me till I get home. So as I turn the corner, I see that my garage door is wide open and the lights are on, and there's no car in the driveway or the garage. Obviously, he's got one of our vehicles. I have the other. So I go, oh my goodness, the garage door is wide open. He immediately thinks that I left the garage door
because
open.
she did it in the past multiple times.
I believed him. I thought that could have happened. You know when you hit the garage door and like something triggers it and you're well on your way, and then it starts going back up and you don't look in the rearview mirror. And then as I got a little bit closer, I started going, how many snowboards did you take? Because we have all of our snowboards like lined up, and it seemed like quite a few were missing. Other doors were open, and just I know his style and how he does things. I don't think he would have done that. So he goes, okay, we were robbed. He knew like immediately. And so he says, you know, park the car, whatever. And I'm thinking like, we weren't robbed. Some punk kids came by, saw a garage door full of cool stuff that's wide open, went in and took what they wanted. So he's like, I didn't want to tell you this, but I left a gun. I will tell you exactly where it is, in between the mattress and the box springs. Go in the house, get the gun. Meanwhile, side note, what I forgot to say is we did have Maya, which is in previous videos, my boxer, home at the time, and because me being a scaredy cat, I left perimeter lights on, sound on for her and for me to come home to. I hear none of that, and I don't hear her scratching for me, barking for me, crying for me. I'm terrified. I'm like, I'm not going in that house. He's on the phone with me the whole time.
The police
take like 40 minutes to get there, so I'm sitting outside just terrified.
And I think at that point I just started packing up to drive home.
Yeah, like I was thinking like, oh my god. Like,
and this is about 11:30 at night.
No, it's after midnight. I didn't get off till after midnight.
So I paid for the hotel room.
1 a.m. probably.
And I was in the room for like, I don't know, 4 hours. Got here, they went into the house. They were in the house for a little while. She's waiting outside. They come back outside. They're like, yeah, you were robbed. They ransacked everything. I
couldn't believe it. I was like, I'll never forget this. I go, you're kidding me. And he just looked at me dead serious. He goes, I wouldn't joke about something like that. And he goes, yeah, laptops, everything's gone. I'm like thinking, how did he even know I had a laptop, right? Like, so after viewing the home, they know what they're talking about. You could tell that you were robbed. Doors were wide open. Everything was gone through. Grandma's jewelry gone.
Flipped the bed over, so he saw the bed over. Got the gun.
Got the gun he wanted me to go into. Gone. Bob Marley snowboard that we looked for forever.
Limited edition.
Every iPad, all of our cash, all of our jewelry, prescription sunglasses, like the top of the countertops, they just obviously just cleared it.
And what they did is they took all of our suitcases and all of my snowboard bags, and they just loaded everything into the bags.
They pack your own stuff in your own stuff.
And they just carted it out.
And what we later found out happened, thanks to Ozzy, is that he goes, do a perimeter. How'd they get in? How'd they get in? Well, I'm so disheveled and I don't even know. I go, I don't know, Ozzy. I don't know. He goes, we'll do a perimeter of the house. So the cops were still wondering how they got in. This is like an hour. Forensics is here, like doing their little fingerprints. Ozzy has me walk the perimeter of the house, and the screen is completely off, and it was clearly the point of entry. They managed to get in.
And what they did is they stuck a box of like chemicals into the doggy door, so the dog couldn't come outside and bark at it. It was just a box that they stuck into the garage
to trap the dog in the house while they broke into.
And I will say one thing: they opened my son's room, and they didn't go in or touch anything into my son's room. Which was, you know,
they
cool.
Did a lot of...
I know other people who have gotten broken into. They'll just like, you know, if they can't get your TV off the wall, they'll just break it. Be punks, you know. They didn't do any of that. They didn't puncture any holes in any walls.
He had money like on
my son's
a
room.
cork board like stapled or pinned
So-
to the corkboard. They didn't touch any of that. There were things of valuable that they didn't take, and I tell this to everybody, not to make light of anyone that's been robbed, but if you've ever been robbed or a home burglary or something like that, you start to get pissed off at the stuff they didn't take. Meaning, like, they didn't take my snowboard or Chance's snowboard, which I'm very appreciative. Thank you if you're watching. But what was wrong with my snowboard? They took 4 of Ozzy's snowboards,
Yeah.
but they were like, let's leave this. Maybe they thought it was a kid's board. After we kind of saw their mentality and what they were thinking, it was almost like they had like robbery morals or something. But one thing they did do is they took every key off the key ring. So part of the hassle of everything you could imagine we were going through at the time, we had to rekey our entire home. We had
The
one of
extra
those-
keys for all the vehicles. Like she had jewelry that her grandmother gave to her before she died, and stuff that you can't replace. You know.
We'll get to how we actually caught them. They took so much unneeded stuff. So like IDs and cards, truck keys, car keys, checkbooks, and stuff that has your name on it that maybe, you cancel within hours of finding out you were burglarized, but now it's in their possession. Weeks or however long it was of not knowing. We had babysitters in the house at the time, people that would stay here and
We
watch
had brand
our house
new
while we
neighbors.
traveled.
We had brand new neighbors that we were suspecting.
Yeah.
And it ended up being our
really
some of our
close
best friends.
We were suspicious of the mailman because
Oh, yeah.
everybody tells you it's like an inside job, or like how would they have known? The timing was too spot on. Later to find out they were probably watching us, and they do weird things. Like sometimes they'll knock on your door, and then you answer the door, and they're just like, "Oh, hey, is that your dog?" No, it's not. Now they know, well, she's home at 3 o'clock. You know what I mean? They start figuring it out that way. The terrifying part was it went on for months of us not knowing. This is actually how we caught them.
And what happened is, I got a call from a detective.
I got the call.
She got the call. Was your house burglarized?
And how do you know it? We weren't married at the time. They go, what is your connection to David? And I said, that's I think he was my fiance at the time when they were calling me. And we co-owned the home together, and he was on the report. They go, well, we have his ID here, and we think that they got that from robbing your house. Well, I didn't think. I knew they got it from robbing our house, amongst other things, expensive handbags, laptops, and other things that they were reading on my report
And
that
there
were
was,
missing they had. So they were trying to pin us to this facility where we were to locate, hopefully find $600 or more of our property to pin charges on this person.
It ended up being a drug addict kid who was out on bail from robbing like a very high up Metro police officer's house, and
Out on bail when he robbed
us,
our house.
and he was just a drug addict or whatever, no connection to us at any. I was very happy about that because like, oh, it's just a random act,
And what they do is, I heard, they're knocking the door, they confirm you're not home one way or the other. Once they broke in through this back door, knowing our dog at the time wasn't a threat to them for whatever reason, then they go and they open up your garage door. They pull their own vehicle in. They took all of our suitcase, luggage, and snowboard bags, packed up all the stuff they want to take in those bags, loaded it up into their vehicle, pulled out and left, and never shut our garage door. So I come home to a wide open house, and that's what brought us to realizing that we were robbed.
In Vegas, there's definitely is one thing to talk about. There's definitely break-ins. There's a lot of break-ins. You always got to be aware of that break-in scenario. And you always got to look at the positive in life is kind of the moral of the story. We lived here for 5.5 years after that, and nothing's happened. But let me tell you the good positive thing that happened.
So let me set it up. We lived in an area where nobody really talked to anybody. I couldn't recognize any of my neighbors in a lineup. Maybe you wave here and there. Of course, everybody's friendly, but certainly no get-togethers or know each other or call each other by name at this point. So the next day, I go, you got to start going door to door. I am terrified, and I don't even want to leave
So
the house.
I go to all the neighbors' house. I knock on the door. I tell them what happened, and they're like, "Oh my God, really?" And I just wanted to let them know, or if they had seen anything. One of the neighbors was like, "Well, I left at 5 o'clock, and your garage door was already open at 5 o'clock," meaning that they had gone in right after, very close time after Anna had left. So daylight, full of daylight. But what happened is we became great friends with all of the neighbors because of that. Because after that, we all just started talking, and we started having barbecues, and then we just all became really great friends. And now
Started a neighborhood watch.
that was one of the greatest little neighborhoods like I've lived in Vegas.
With doing that could lead nowhere because you could just not really care for your neighbors, so guys just don't mesh. Come to find out, I made great lifelong friends out of it. Like people I probably wouldn't even have known or met if they didn't accidentally move next to me, and some of them renters, some of them transient, like weren't even supposed to stay long. Really brought the community together in a weird way. I think like we brought the community together because we kind of insisted on it. We were like, let's exchange numbers. Hey, why don't you guys come over for dinner tomorrow night? Let's talk about this. We all became just the best friends. It was weird because we look back on that horrible, horrible time in our life, like where I was just so riddled with fear and like hated living here for a moment and just was so scared all the time, to how much good came out of it.
And actually, there's another part of this story. Because we got robbed, Maya was kind of like, for lack of a better word, like a pussy dog, a wimpy dog. She wanted a more aggressive watchdog to bark if someone comes around or scare somebody away. We had some people like comment like, what happened to Maya in the one video? Where's Maya now?
That I'm not hating on Maya. Maya is my number one. She'll always be my number
and so what happened? And that's when we got Tiki as a puppy. When we got Tiki from a breeder, and when we asked them, we said, hey, the apocalypse was happening, and end of the world scenario, which dog would you take? And they all said Tiki's mom, because she's just kind of nuts, right? Well, our dog Tiki kind of got some of that. She's the best dog in the world, but she has major dog aggression. One of the neighbors,
killer.
So she started fighting with Maya.
Killer.
One of the neighbors that we made friends through us getting robbed right across the street, and they actually took Maya in and is now their dog. We get to take her out on special days, so we still see Maya on the side. But it's a big joke between us and the neighbors, because like Anna will say, come say hi to your real mom, right? And then like and then the neighbors would be like, Maya, get in the house, enough of them.
Come to daddy. Yeah, that's how good our neighbors are. And also don't lose track. Like everybody says like, oh, you don't see that on the East Coast. You don't see this in the Midwest. Well, why? Where are you from? Obviously the East Coast or the Midwest if you're saying that. So why lose track of that?
When I talk to other people about it, they're like, you know, it's very rare. Not as much anymore. It's changing, but for a while there, I remember like you can ask people like, oh yeah, I've never seen my neighbors or whatever.
People from Vegas, they don't wave to you. They're not like East Coast, West Coast, or wherever.
And it kind of is like, but now it's starting to become more like where the neighbors get together, like more like normal. We're more of a community now.
Like when we came here, me being from California, him being from Hawaii, like we visualized that. We wanted a double cul-de-sac with a bunch of people that were all raising kids together, that all cooked together, that all hung out together. Like that's what we wanted, and we kind of manifested it.
Yeah.
So don't lose track of that. That was our first story time. Crazy, right? We got robbed. Let me say 3 good things. They didn't hurt my baby Maya. They didn't touch anything in my stepson Chance's room.
They didn't ruin anything in our house.
Man, yeah, really, because they didn't even.
No,
break
they didn't break anything.
We caught them, which the good part of that is you can put like a face or a name, or at least alleviate any suspicion of other people. Like there's people that are robbed that never get caught, and then you're looking at everybody like,
you know.
Oh my God, was he in my underwear drawer? Was he looking at this? Was he in my house? Like, did he tell somebody I had this or that?
Caught the guy that actually made us, you know, you don't really worry anymore. Anyway, you guys, so story time Las Vegas. Do things to protect yourself, do things to protect your home. Start a neighborhood watch. Anna's actually the head of the neighborhood watch for our community. And she got signs put up, and she got everyone on board. Anyway, guys, Woo Vegas talk. Story time. Do you have any stories about you getting robbed? Tell us, leave it in the comments.
Yeah, we want to know.
We'd love to,
especially in Vegas.
I'd love to hear it. And if you have any questions about safest neighborhoods, we're actually going to do a Vegas talk very soon on the best neighborhoods to live in Vegas, which I think is going to be a hit. But until next time, Woo Vegas talk.
You know, we have him. He was mentioned in the police report. Yeah. What is your connection to court? You started that, and I like it.
Okay, just keep going, please.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
Are we not supposed to say our names? Why not?
We can look you up. I don't know.
Look us up. David.